All right, so we live. I lied. I said live in 5. It was more like 7, but we can get over that, right? Like right as I was sitting down, getting squared away, had everything ready to go. Hi there. What's up? Hang on just a second here, guys. What's up, What's up, baby? Yeah, I can absolutely. All right, so we live hanging out here for just a minute. Give me 2 seconds, and I'll be right back with you. Kind of let everybody file in here. You lost your little doll? Yeah. My goodness. It's okay. I'll try and find it. Okay, she's going to try and find her little doll, guys. It's okay. So, I had to step out there for a minute, help the little one. Get her clothes on, get her started for the day. She actually slept pretty late. I wasn't expecting that. So I'm going to put me behind for just a minute right as I'm getting ready to go live. I feel a little tug on my shirt. I hear, can I have cereal? What is it, baby? I love it. So, anyway. Hey, what's up, Adam? How you doing this morning, guys? How's everybody doing? We're going to give everybody a few minutes to file in here like usual. Then we'll kind of get started. I will say that today there's not really going to be, unless a topic comes up in the chat that somebody wants to talk about. Today's just going to be kind of preaching from the heart a little bit, I guess. I don't know, I've got a few things I've been wanting to, I wouldn't necessarily say get off my chest, but just kind of discuss. It's something that's, kind of came up here and there through the years of playing the game and that kind of thing. And for those that are new to the game, or maybe those that want to weigh in with something else in the comments, we're just going to kind of talk about that stuff this morning and then kind of see where the live chat takes us from there. So how about those football games, though? I was made into a liar on that Chiefs and Bills game. I really thought that would be a lot closer of a game than it was. But I'm blown away at how Kansas City's defense played. Their defense has been better than it has been in years past, but Saturday it was just insane. I couldn't believe it. So with that being said, who's everybody got for the Super Bowl? Let's see. I think... Okay. No, the Bucs defense has been playing really good. It says I don't think the Bucs can slow down Kansas City, and I do think that is true, 100%. But the Bucs defense has been next level here lately too. So that was something that kind of impressed me watching them play the Packers. Was their defense was on point for sure. There's no doubt about that. But I still don't think they've got anything for the Chiefs because the only real, I'd say, true advantage that the Buccaneers are going to have here is actually having the game in Florida. So there's going to be a lot of Buccaneers fans there. I saw some dude paid like $160,000 for a ticket, one ticket. That's nuts. I mean, that's absolutely insane. I can't even fathom the thought of that. Hey, what's up, Brett? How you doing this morning, dude? Everybody kind of filing in here. I know I said that 3 times, Peanut Gallery. I got to repeat myself for people that are just showing up. God, such a podcast expert. Have your own. I'm not even going to turn around and see the look I'm getting. Oh, come on, Brett. You ain't tired. You only work 8 days a week. So where's everybody at while they're listening to these? Are they on the road? Are they at work? Do you usually just kind of pop in and then catch the rest of it later? Hey, hey, Gio, what's up, buddy? So I was kind of curious to that, like if a different platform to go live on would be better, then we could explore that option as well. I'll just use YouTube because that's where 99% of my content is anyway. This podcast is more of just a specific thing as far as not everybody wants to listen to the podcast, and most people come back and watch it later anyway. So if we put it on a different platform, you could still go back and watch it later. And if it's something that would be easier for people to access going live, like say it was done on Twitch, I believe Twitch has the ability now to play with a closed screen. So you wouldn't even have to have your screen open per se, so you could listen wherever. But we can explore options if people want to do something like that. As far as like hosting the podcast, I'm doing a little bit of research into that, but I don't have 100%. Like as far as hosting, like on iTunes or something like that, it wouldn't be able to go live. And I kind of enjoy the live aspect of it. But if we're talking in terms of people that could catch up with it later, iTunes would definitely be an option there. iTunes or Podcast One, kind of things like that. I do know that costs a little bit of money, but if it's something worth, putting the money into, or it might be an opportunity for the Patreon page that I've been discussing, that would be a good opportunity for that too. Home suspended from work. Oh man, come on now. Better be a good story. That's all I've got to say. Brett, we know where you are. You live at work. Working from home, man, that'd be nice. Gio been working from home for the last 5 years. Yeah, keep bragging. Driving a truck off today. At work, working retail. Oof. Retail sales is something I'm not sure I could do a lot of. It takes a tough person to be able to deal with people and some of the belligerent things they ask and the way they act sometimes. I'm not real sure that I could tolerate much of that. Let me see. Oh, Brad, people don't suck. This guy's mad he's got to work 8 days a week, 20 hours a day. Like, what else are you doing, man? Did anybody watch the Challenge Cup this weekend? Did anybody watch any footage from that? Oh, dang. Cut yourself needing stitches. Are you okay, though? That sucks. I've been there, I'll say that. Putting my hands places they shouldn't have been and paying the price. Brett says, come car hop for me. I tell you what, Brett, I'll come to Sonic and I'll car hop for you at a cost. I'll even wear the roller skates. How's that? Oh, God. So, oh yeah, that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking go to Sonic, do a little bit of car hopping with roller skates, but it's going to cost you. It's going to cost you probably $20 an hour and all the cheesy tots I can get. Geo, topics today are honestly just going to be kind of, I just got a couple things I want to kind of get off my chest per se a little bit. Just kind of some stuff that's been weighing on me, kind of being someone that's been in the game for at least a little bit now, and kind of a message to maybe some of the younger community or people that haven't been playing all that long. And once it gets kind of that stuff out of the way, it's going to be basically just I kind of hang out with the chat and kind of do what we're doing now, but obviously we'll get a little bit of it in. Yeah, the Challenge Cup was pretty good, yeah. Been watching DW's clips on the Challenge Cup stuff that he covered. For those that don't know, Dale Weezer is one of the ones that helps take care of the Conference U-Trip stuff as far as the media coverage and stuff goes. If you go over to YouTube and tune into, as they SW48 is the name of the channel, and he's always got all kinds of clips and footage. He does condensed games, which are very, very popular. Basically, he just takes every at-bat with a swing, And sorry, I was reading something. He basically just takes cuts down every at bat to just the swing of the at bat, and then puts the whole game together. It's actually pretty cool. You can take in a whole game in 20-ish minutes, and it's usually a pretty good game too. You can kind of pick through the games. He's doing the good games, and it's pretty fun to watch. I enjoy that stuff, and I know his channel's been growing a lot here lately. So if you're not over there, go check that stuff out. It's definitely some good stuff to see there. Oh, what's up, Sammy? How you doing, man? Got Sammy in the chat. What is it, sweetie? Oh, okay. You got it coming. It's drink time. Got done with our cereal. Now we need a drink. I think we got it taken care of, though. One car hop made $130 the other day, 6-2. I'm gonna tell you something. 6-2. I mean, that's barely $20 an hour. I mean, I'm talking. If I'm out there busting it in roller skates, and don't think I can. I'm a beast on some roller skates. I just know it. It used to be back in the day. Oh, roller blades. I used to do roller blades. Roller skates are kind of sketchy. We used to do. I didn't have any roller blades, but I had a friend of mine that had some. We'd go out and rip on them things a little bit every now and then. I'm surprised I didn't blow my tailbone out a few times, but that's neither here nor there. Is Sonic playing NSA and U-Trip? I know we're playing U-Trip for sure. NSA, I'm not 100% sure. I think it's just going to depend on the schedule. Oh, look at there. Brett's already answering. Yeah, so he said the same thing I did. Then it's just going to kind of depend. Don't plan on playing a ton. We do play a lot of U-Trip. Sammy, it is cold outside. It was 6 degrees when I went to drop my son off at school this morning. Oh, what's up, Jorge? How you doing, man? All right, so I'm going to just kind of get started here, give everybody time to file in. We're going to dive right in, and I guess, what? No, babe. So now that everybody has. Sheesh. Bye, Squish. See you later, buddy. All right, so now that everybody's kind of filed in and everything else, we're going to kind of get started here. Like I said, we're just going to kind of podcast from the heart today. And before I get too far into it, am I too loud? Am I too quiet? Can everybody hear me okay? I did forget to ask that. I always try and ask just to make sure that everything's sounding good for everybody before I get too far into things here. Anybody? As soon as I get confirmation from anybody we're sounding okay, I'll just go ahead and roll. Okay, sounds good. All right, cool. Here we go. So, something that maybe if you're new to the game, or even if you've been in the game for a little while, some people have been known to speak freely at times about teammates and that kind of thing. And know your environment. You know, you may be an exceptionally good athlete or an exceptionally good player, but that doesn't give you the right to talk to people, talk down to people, talk bad about people, especially maybe you may not know your surroundings, but it's no secret of life. Everybody's going to have something to say about someone at some point behind closed doors or whatever else. But just be mindful of your surroundings if you do have something to say. It doesn't matter who's doing it, Gio. There's no singular person we're pointing out here. It's just a general of being a good teammate, being a good example, and being somewhat of a leader. You don't have to be, part of the game for 15 years to be a good leader. You don't have to be part of the game for 15 years to be a good teammate. You just got to be a good human being. If you want to criticize someone, let them know choose my words wisely here, in a way that's not going to make you come off as an asshole. I'm just going to go ahead and say it. Sorry for those that are listening to this at work, but there's just really no better way to say things sometimes. And no matter how good you are, where you came from, your background, anything else, instead of talking about those people, do something to make them better. Help them get better. Geo's virgin ears, get out of here. Yeah, and Adam is right. Everybody remembers a bad teammate. And I wouldn't necessarily say, that's where the borderline of bad teammate, I wouldn't consider it a bad teammate as much as I would maybe just naive in some situations, because a lot of times it's people that are new to the game or people that are super competitive, and I get it because I am competitive too, although it may not seem like it sometimes. I am. But instead of beating people down with words, because I've seen that firsthand. You got guys that want to turn around and just bite people's heads off in dugouts. And I mean, what does that accomplish besides you having a fit and yelling at someone for the whole dugout, the entire ballpark to hear? What have you accomplished besides letting someone know they did something wrong, when more than likely they're probably already pretty aware? That's something that it's tough. It's tough to watch. It's tough to watch in terms of being on a team and having that happen. Luckily, I haven't had much experience with that, but I have. Or just being on the field when that happens in the other dugout. It's like everybody just kind of stands around because there have been times where, outbursts and yelling and things stops the game completely. And it's just like, were you thinking when you did that? Has anybody ever done that to you on the field? I'm not talking like in life and in personal things and stuff like that, because everybody's personal life is different. I always have been kind of a proponent of not bringing that stuff to the field with you, unless it's going to involve your teammates. And in that aspect, deal with it off the field, not on the field. But what gives you the right to just turn around and bite someone's head off for missing a ground ball, for going 0 for 5 for the day, for, having a bad month at the plate? You play 2-3 tournaments and, you got a guy hitting, sub 300. Who are you to go, bite their head off or say something to them or talk a bunch of trash to them? And somewhere, I don't want to use too many specific examples because I've got plenty. I'm not here to single people out or anything like that, but especially being on live platforms of media, whether it be like Facebook Live or, Twitch or things like that. Because I've seen and heard, people like standing behind a camera while I'm live or standing behind a camera while I'm recording with a GoPro, recording a game. The mouths start running and, oh, well, so-and-so out there, they suck, or I don't know why they're on that team. And it'd blow your mind, some of the things that you hear if you just sit down and watch a game sometimes. It's not every game, and it doesn't happen all that often. But it just kind of makes you wonder, like, what else are you saying about people when nobody can hear? It's just kind of an eye-opening thing a little bit. Be a better person. And not so much approach that person and say, hey, you suck. But especially if you know that person is struggling with squaring a ball up, give them a tip to square the ball up. And don't say, hey, you freaking suck. I'm tired of watching you do this. Try this instead. Feel that person out a little bit. Be a teammate in that regard of trying to reach out and say, hey, how's things going today? You feeling comfortable? And let them, because they may not want to be receiving of advice. Some people don't want to, I wouldn't say don't want to hear criticism, but maybe at the time they don't. And it's not even, I would say, criticism as much as it would be advice. But just do better. Do better at being a teammate and help each other. Don't sit back and just be... Oh, it's tough. I'm really biting my tongue here. be a good teammate. Be a leader. Don't matter how long you've been playing the game. Just do it, okay? And that kind of snowballs into the second thing here that's not really like softball related. I was at the grocery store one day. I guess it just has something to do with being a good person, being a better person. Not necessarily saying people are bad or the people that do that things. Yeah, Adam, just don't be a dick. Yeah. But it just, in general, people that act that way on the field, they're probably going to act that way off the field too. And I was at the grocery store one day. This really hit home with me, kind of aggravated me, like to the point that I almost went live and set my phone on the dash driving home just to rant about it. Like, if you've been around me personally or you know me at all, you know that like I'm a goofball, man. I 100% am just a goofball. I'm always clowning around, always jacking with someone, always doing something dumb or trying to make somebody laugh. And it's not like a comedy act. It's just to try to, and when I say somebody, I mean like a drive-through worker or someone taking my order at a restaurant. Like, I mean, Gabe, I wish Gabe was here to tell you. Like, there's so many times I've put people on the spot just to try to like spice the day up a little bit. Like, if I go to a restaurant I've never been to before, I may walk in and say, they come over and take my order and I'll say, I don't know what I want. I want this or this. You pick for me. Just things like that, just to kind of like spark a little conversation, maybe like add a little bit of element to their day. What if you were the only person that was nice to that person that day, like in a busy restaurant? You're not expecting someone to stop and just in chit chat with you and carry on and everything else. But if you're in a busy restaurant, there's more than likely a chance that a waiter or waitress has been, treated like crap because some people don't know how to act. What if you were kind of the highlight of their day? Stop and think about that stuff sometimes. Like, I was leaving the grocery store and on my way out, this lady checked my receipt and I can't even remember verbatim like the conversation we had, but it was just me doing me. She's, I need to scan this. I said, oh yeah, I think it was some strawberry. I had some strawberry. I love strawberries, for those that don't know. I absolutely love them. And I had some in my cart and she goes, I'm going to scan these strawberries here real quick. I said, yeah. I said, you better get a good picture of them. I said, they may not make it home. And she goes, well, you're going to be in trouble if those strawberries don't make it home. I said, you already know. But I said, I'm looking forward to eating them. I said, they may not make it, at least a few of them. And we just kind of sat there and had some small talk for a minute and went on. And as I'm walking away, she looks at me and says, hey, thank you for being so polite. And, I said, you're very welcome. I said, I hope you have a good day. And, she said the same. And I went on. Like, what day and age of society do we live in that you thank people for being so polite? Like, what do you think that someone owes you that you can look down on someone and be rude to them, or what gives you the right? Like, oh, you're a fast food worker. You flip burgers. Well, they're still a human being. Who cares what they're doing? It shouldn't matter. It shouldn't matter what walk of life someone comes from. It shouldn't matter what someone's background is. It shouldn't matter what someone's name is. I mean, let's get deep. It shouldn't matter what ethnicity someone is. Treat someone like a decent human being. Treat someone how you would want to be treated. You wouldn't want someone to come up and chew your ass all the time. So don't do it back. The fact that that lady said to me, thank you for being so polite. Kind of maybe one of two things. Maybe it was she just really enjoyed, our engagement or conversation, and maybe she was having a bad day, and that was the highlight of her day. It's hard to tell, but more times than not, given today's society, you're left to assume that somebody at some point was probably an ass bag to this woman, and you might have made her day. Just stop and think about that sometimes. Take that opportunity. It doesn't have to be every person you walk across. You don't have to kiss their ass or do anything else. But just try and be positive. Be different. Be happy. Especially sometimes, like I'll be somewhere and you kind of see someone that's kind of wearing their emotions on their sleeves a little bit. I'll really kind of take the opportunity to even just get them to crack a smile, man. Sometimes that's all it takes. All it takes is, someone having a bad day. Everybody's down on them, or maybe something's going on in their life, and you get someone to crack a smile and recognize their existence outside of what they're there for, whether it be to take your order or to help you do something or to stock a shelf or to change the oil in your car. Acknowledge their existence, appreciate them. Thank you very much. Have a good day. Sometimes that's all it takes, guys. Just be a better human being. I'm very fortunate that my parents raised me to be good like that in the aspect of be outgoing, be social, and don't be entitled to everything. Yeah, see, Jordan Dean just said it. I still can't understand why we have shifted to a society that can't be nice. Now people are so entitled. Right, and where does that entitlement come from? That's where I struggle. Nobody owes you nothing. Earn what you've got. You want respect, go earn it. Because you're not going to get it just acting like a complete fool. And Gio, I see you. I'm spitting here. So, yeah, I don't know. It's like I said, this wasn't softball related, and I kind of knew going into this day that it wasn't going to be. I've been really busy at home doing some stuff, and I knew that the podcast wasn't going to be 100% softball related, and I think it's something that's kind of happened, just going live weekly sometimes instead of waiting till there's enough topics to have one. And I don't know. Sometimes I just kind of like to mix it up a little bit. Like hopefully this podcast will cheer someone up. Topics like this, whether it be anything really. Maybe this podcast will cheer someone up. Maybe this podcast will inspire someone. Be a better version of yourself every day. Every day, be a better version of yourself. And I'm not talking on the field. I'm not talking athletically. I'm talking just as a human being. Do something to make yourself a better person every day. Do I do that every day? No, I don't. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. It's more of have a goal to aspire for. One thing. That's all it takes is one thing, and then do another one the next day, and another one the next day. It's simple, guys. You can kind of relate that to softball, and say, do something to make yourself better every day. And it doesn't have to be go out and take swings, go out and take grounders, which hardly anybody does, by the way, myself included, guilty. But, maybe in pot meat kettle, maybe eat a salad instead of a cheeseburger. Health choices, anything like that. Like it frustrates me sometimes, just being real with you here. Like I said, we're podcasting from the heart today. Like it does frustrate me at times that I am active. I do work out. You can't tell. But I do work out. I do a lot of weight training, but man, I just eat like crap. And sometimes you be a better version of yourself can be just eat better. Give yourself a little sense of direction, because it's almost proven science. I've listened to a lot of podcasts. It's kind of where some of this message came from, and kind of what gave me the idea behind it is you set a goal for yourself. And I'm not talking a big one. I'm not talking lose 60 pounds. I'm not talking have $10,000 in the bank. I'm not talking, this or that or whatever else. Just a small goal. You set a small goal for yourself and accomplish that goal. Then the next day, you're going to do that again. And then the next day, you're going to do that again. And before long, next thing you know, the momentum is rolling. You're ready to take on the next challenge, and you're ready to take on the next challenge. Instead of looking at, it better be a red Slurpee Geo. And don't look at everything so negatively. I've been put in some, I won't say great situations. By no means am I saying that I've had a hard life, because, man, I've had it pretty good. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys. But things get tough for everybody at some point or another, and you can sit back and focus on what's going bad, or you can, think, well, okay, what can I make of this? What is this teaching me? what can I take from this to move forward? Not everything has to be negative. Like you can, the negative is definitely there. It can't be ignored. By nature, humans are going to focus on the negative. It's a survival tactic. You remember the negative things so you don't do those things again. It's something that sorry, I was reading something. It's something that is kind of just instinctive. You like so many good things have happened to you, right? So many good things, and you don't remember every single one of them, but you remember the negative ones. It's kind of a self-defense thing. It's kind of a survival tactic, just from a human aspect, a standpoint of, damn, if I do that again, I might get hurt. Damn, if I do that again, something, I might cost myself a lot of money. If I do that again, I may not have a family anymore. Just decision-wise, life decision-wise, whatever it might be. So, podcasting from the heart a little bit today. I don't know who's listening. I don't know who's engaged. But sometimes I don't know. I kind of sit back and talk about that stuff sometimes. And you guys just happen to be on the receiving end of it today. Orange Chowder says, and someone that works in retail, there are days where you feel like you've given up on humanity with the way some people are. Yeah, 100%. I think retail workers do not get near, and I'm talking near, the credit they deserve for dealing with some people. And especially, it's one of those deals where, people go viral for causing a scene in a store and get their way. Well, guess what? Now someone's seen that happen, and they know they can get their way. So someone else is going to go in and do the same thing. And the next thing you know, you got everybody coming in acting like absolute fools just to get something done, and don't really care who's at the receiving end of it. And I guess some of my engagements, and I won't say all of them, but a lot of my engagements, I should say, as far as like trying to just, brighten someone up, make someone have a better day. A lot of time it is someone in the retail side of things, because those are people you interact with. You go into a store, I mean, there's retail stores everywhere. You can't avoid them. And a lot of times it's those times where you run into those people. Just be a decent human. It's not hard. Adam says, I don't get why everyone wants a pat on the back for just being a good person. Don't film everything. Yeah, right. Don't film every time you do something good for someone else. So, yeah, to me that kind of speaks of, hey, look what I did, or, I did this. What did you do today? Like, it's not a contest. I mean, I could sit here and ramble off 1,000 things I've done to try and brighten someone's day, but it's not a contest. It's not something to say, I did this. What did you do? Well, you only did that. You gave someone $10. Well, I gave him $50. That's not what it's about. And, you don't have to post every time. That's why sometimes like things like Facebook and social media kind of get to me a little bit sometimes, is everybody talks about the good in their life. Every time something good happens, if somebody gets a shiny new truck, or somebody gets a new car, or, got a big promotion at work, or they're got a new job and they're making X amount of money, they're always there to brag about that stuff. Hey, look what I did. Look at me. And there's nothing wrong with feeling good about yourself and being accomplished, but it's pretty easy to decipher which ones are doing which. I'll say that. And, those people don't have anything to say when stuff's not going their way, or they don't have anything to say to try to pick someone else up. It's me, 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 me. And that's frustrating. It's frustrating watching. Sometimes that's why I get a little fed up with Facebook. This politics and all this election stuff has really, it's opened my eyes to a lot of people, and a lot of things that have just been going on in the world kind of open your eyes to a lot of people too, and kind of show their true colors and their beliefs, and it kind of makes you wonder, like, the direction that we're headed if we don't try and change. I mean, even if there's 21 people sitting here watching this right now, even if sitting here doing this changes the outlook of one person, then that person changes their outlook, maybe change a few things in their life to do better. And next thing you know, they're doing the same thing for someone else. Hey, do better. Set yourself a goal. Whether it be go on a walk for 10 minutes every day. And, goals. You set a bunch of little goals. You get those done. You move on to the bigger goals. The next thing you know, a big goal doesn't seem bad. If you can pass out that behavior to one person, if one person from here takes it and passes that off to someone else, and then passes it off to someone else, it can be a contagious thing, 100%. So that's big. And if all it takes is one person that walks away from this feeling different, then I feel like kind of my message here with this podcast is done. I'm sitting here talking for basically almost 20 minutes now about life and my thoughts on things. And hopefully I haven't lost you guys completely, because this is a softball channel, but sometimes we just got to say those things. Kind of catching up with the comments here. Gio drinking that Coca-Cola slushie. That ain't bad. Jordan Zenith has, as far as the retail stuff goes, I think that's what he's talking about. Said, I would say it could be that, but it could be also started with the customer is always right and evolved from there. Just his opinion. And there is times where that is incorrect. The customer is always right, is incorrect. But in a day and age of social media, somebody has a bad experience at a restaurant. Just another example of people focusing on negativity as well. You have a bad experience at a restaurant. What's the first thing you do? You get on Facebook. Oh, I went to so-and-so restaurant. My food was cold. It was undercooked, and the service was bad, and everything else. You see those, you see them everywhere. You see them in restaurant reviews, product reviews, whatever it might be. But do you ever see the people say, hey, I had a really good experience at this restaurant. This was really good. The service was great. The food was good. Just compare, like, how many negative reviews do you see of something than you do the positive? Everybody wants to talk about something negative, but very seldom do you see everybody talk about something positive. And speaking of restaurants and food and stuff like that, if you're in the Columbia, Missouri area, go check out the Lily's Cantina food truck. Stuff is amazing. Just want to throw that out there. I'm kind of having a withdrawal. I haven't had it in like a week and a half. Dude, it's so good. Just speaking about restaurants, I had to throw that out there because that stuff is incredible. Let's see. Yeah, Jorge, he's talking about eating healthier and stuff like that. Like, there's certain things that I don't put on social media or really talk about a whole lot. But I did go on a bit of a, you might say, weight loss adventure about this time last year. I think it was a little earlier in the year. Yeah, it was definitely earlier in the year last year. I ended up down close to, if not, I can't remember the exact number. It was close to 60 pounds. And just the pandemic hit, gyms closed, and lots of stress and things going on in life just kind of took me off that path. And just kind of ended up basically starting to square one again. Been trying to get back on the grind here for the last about month or so. And it's easier said than done, but it's, like I said, it's setting little goals. Like right now I've got a goal set for myself to, when I did this, I reached out and hired a dietitian just to kind of point me in the right direction. Cause like the physical activity aspect of things has never been a problem. I've been in the gym for years, but it's just the decisions I make in the kitchen are usually what kicks me in the ass. And hired a dietitian, and I mean that was by far the best money I've ever spent. People want to spend money on this supplement or that workout program or this diet program. Like, hire a dietitian, and hire a good one, and they will basically tailor your meals to tell you what you need to eat and when you need to eat it. And how much. That's the big thing, is how much. Portion control has always been a thing for me, and that's one thing that really helped. And just eating the right amount of things, like, just didn't realize, not everything has to be piled high with cheese or, flavored with oils or whatever else. You can get by with something tasting good using half of that and still walk away just as satisfied. And I did figure that out. Like, there's times where some of these meals that I've been eating, it's like, I don't want to eat all that. Like, one of the food choices I have for one of my meals is like 200 grams of strawberries. That's a lot of strawberries, but strawberries are freaking good. So it really doesn't bother me a whole lot. But yeah, and it's kind of one of those things like make it a point to drink a certain amount of water a day. And then once you kind of get that knocked out, then make it a point of, all right, we'll replace that meal with this meal. And then once you get, to the point where, you can replace one meal a day, replace another meal a day with a healthier meal. And next thing you know, you're on the path. I mean, I'm already back on the path. I'll say that. And that's kind of the approach that I've taken. Because if you just jump in head first, some people can do that, but a lot of times, speaking from personal experience, it doesn't last long. Because it's just overwhelming. It's overwhelming. It's like it can be a little bit of a mental battle in the aspect of, God, when's it going to happen? When this is awful. Like, I don't want to eat all this stuff. I want a cheeseburger. I don't want to, I don't want a chicken breast and rice. So it's one of those things you just kind of, if you can ease your way into it, I 100% think you're better off. And that's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm back on the water kick, replacing meals and doing that thing. I'm off work for a few days, kind of hanging out here at home with the fam. And really going to try to take advantage of that opportunity. I finally found some adjustable dumbbells. I don't know if you ever seen like the Bowflex, like the Select Tech dumbbells. Like basically, for those that don't know, it's a dumbbell set that basically it's one, but it can replace, gosh, I don't even know how many sets of dumbbells. There's a dial on the side, and it'll put how much weight you want on there, and you can use those. It replaces the space of the dumbbells, the cost of the dumbbells, and I finally found some. And that's also kind of been like a little motivating thing to stay active and use that stuff. Is being able to find those. They weren't cheap, and they're very hard to get right now because everybody's trying to work out from home, but I am super glad that I finally found them. So yeah, just kind of thumbing through comments here again. So Sammy says people these days don't understand mistakes happen and things aren't always going to be the way it should, but don't be an asshole just because you can. 100%. 100%. And that's where I'm talking about, like, instead of focusing on the negative, like looking at that person and saying, hey, you messed up. Like, give that person advice. Or maybe just let that person know. Maybe they don't know they messed up. Or maybe say, hey, try this next time. Or, do you need help? That's the big one. Do you need help? You see someone struggling? Don't walk up to them and point out like, hey, you're really fucking up here. Don't. Just offer them help. Help. Be helpful. So Jordan Dean, okay, I'm going to put that on this list here. I'm going to get caught up with the comments, so we're going to kind of chip away at this. So Jordan Dean wants to know about gloves. It's not off topic, dude. I mean, like I said, this was just kind of something because I didn't have a ton of topics kind of lined up, and that's been something I want to talk about for a while. So we just kind of ran with it. Yeah, we can totally talk about gloves. Let me get caught up with the comments here and see what's in here, and then we can talk about gloves. Maybe give me a little bit of an idea of what you want to know, and we can kind of go from there too. Maybe we can pull up Headbanger's website and kind of nose through their glove selection too, because they got some pretty nice stuff on there. Yeah, Tune with Tokyo. We live in the like status. People post to get likes and attention. Yeah. Oh yeah. Everybody says all the time, trying to get my likes up, trying to get my followers up. Yeah, it's totally live in the try and get like status. Gio, you're right. If life isn't going your way, a mirror is a great place to start. 100%. And yeah, Gio, 100. Yeah, you're right. The family has to be on board with a lot of that stuff as well, whether it be life choices or, trying to do better at the dinner table or working out or whatever it might be. Whatever you're aspiring to do, family support is huge. Vertical diet hero works when you're lifting for numbers. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right. We got Bobby Bugs in the chat this morning. What's up, man? So he says, what can I do to help you get better? Yeah, to help you do better. Yeah, 100%. That's something that, like when I'm at work, it's, you help somebody do something, like, whether it be something on the computer. Some people may not be as computer savvy as others. And, sorry, I'm cracking up. Adam, Fat Guy BP, saying, "Sell me some balls, Bob Russell." Well, man, I'll tell you what, he's got some good ones. I'll say that. He's got some good softballs. But anyway, so yeah, whether it be, somebody's not all that computer savvy, or you may be new to a process and not understand it, walk them through the process and then say, "Do you got any other questions? Do you need anything else? Is there anything else I can do for you? If you need anything else, let me know." That's a big one too. I always try and make sure to make it a point to say, if you need something else, let me know. If you need help with this, always reach out. So that's a big one too, like being approachable. And I know sometimes I'm not. I'll be brutally honest with that. Sometimes I may not be in certain situations, but I try and make myself approachable 99% of the time, and for that reason. Tip says, speaking of working out, do you prefer to bench with the bar or dumbbells, especially what's easier on the shoulders? Personally, I like a barbell movement is going to be more of a compound movement. It's going to use more of a lot of things, as to where something with a dumbbell, you can kind of focus on a specific muscle group or specific muscle set and kind of isolate and work around things from there. So as far as bench pressing goes, especially with shoulder issues, you can orientate your hands to kind of manipulate it and get to an angle that feels good. And I almost prefer at times, I don't have necessarily shoulder problems, but I'm not trying to look for any either. So there's a lot of times that I would prefer to bench press with a set of dumbbells. And that's not even saying you got to go heavy and just blow yourself out every chance you get. Grab a decent weight and do more reps. If you're not looking to, hurt yourself, just grab a moderate weight and do more reps than just try to grab the heaviest thing you can and crank out, 7 or 8 reps. And bench press, I wouldn't say subjective. Bench press isn't the worst way to build muscle, but bench press is like the measure of a man, It's like, what do you bench? You get some big, strong, think about it. Stop and think about it. Every time you see a dude, hey man, what do you bench? You big dude, what do you bench? I wonder what that guy benches. Or, man, you hit that ball far. I bet you bench a lot. Like, what's that got to do with anything? There's more of a measure of strength than just bench pressing. And personally, I hate bench pressing, but it's one of those things you got to do it, because if you don't, then you end up, not even visually, just, muscular imbalance. I do listen to Mark Bell. I love listening to Mark Bell. Oh, hug attack. Hi. Sorry, I've had a hug attack.
I just wanted to daddy.
Yeah. Oh, I love you. So yeah, I do listen to Mark Bell. I could listen to Mark Bell all day long. And he's a big proponent of, when it comes to warm up, stretch. Don't just, get under the bar the second you walk in the gym and kill yourself. One of the things that really resonated about that with me is nobody is too cool to not warm up with the bar. But hug attacks can change a day. See, that's what I'm talking about. She knows the deal. Hug attacks can change a day. But nobody's too cool to not warm up with a bar when it comes to the bench press, deadlift, squats, anything like that. I'm a big squat and deadlift guy. Honestly, just because my body type's kind of meant more for that. And I don't like how benching makes my shoulders feel when it starts to get heavy, and I'm just kind of a chump at it. I'm not going to lie. So I've always been more of kind of a squat and deadlift guy. As far as powerlifting movements go, compound movements. And Mark Bell says, you're never too cool to, not warm up with the barbell and work slow. I could listen to Mark Bell all day long, man. He's really got some good insight. If sometimes he's just like me, this is a softball podcast, and I'm totally off topic right now. Haven't talked about softballs in a hot minute, softball or anything for a hot minute, but we're vibing, we're doing our thing here, and sometimes Mark does the same thing. DQ Patrick says tuck your elbows, especially on the bench. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I don't know how many people you see, with your elbows all flared out and stuff. That puts, I can just feel it sitting here. You just lift your elbows straight up and like to the sides, and like you can feel it in your shoulders. Now imagine putting 200 pounds in your hands and trying to move it with your shoulders up there like that. That's where a lot of benching issues come from, is just improper form and improper orientation as far as form in kind of like what your elbows and things like that should be doing. It's big. It's really big. And I learned that the hard way. There was a long time, like my bench was stuck. Wasn't good at it. And just kind of watching some of Mark Bell's stuff and just his training stuff in general, you can really learn a lot. And that's definitely what I suggest. Like if you're looking to, start a fitness adventure, or just want to be better at training, check out some YouTube stuff and try to find a way to learn that way. No, I have not listened to Barbell Logic. I've heard people talk about it. I've heard it's a pretty good show, but I have not listened to that one. But it is funny though. That is cool. Actually, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that. Do I listen to Mark Bell? Check the shirt. I just thought about that. I've got this shirt on, so that's funny. Super Training Gym, the strongest gym in the West. His content is just awesome, man. And I do like that he is so open with. We're not going to get into that topic because I have a few different times, but he's open about drug use as well with his weightlifting, which is I think kind of cool in the fact that he's transparent about what he's doing. When he was shooting for a 600-pound raw bench press, like you're pretty naive if you think that man is not using something to be able to train the way he was and recover and be able to go back at it again. Because for those that don't know a lot about like lifting terms and things like that, a raw bench press is literally, there's no like assistance bands, there's no shirts, there's no bench press shirts. The bench press shirt is a really rigid shirt that basically wants to make your arms extend when you have it on. So it makes it easier to, like if you think about it, it's going to put more tension on when you come down. So as you go up, it's going to help you go up. There's nothing. There's no wrist wraps. There's no slingshots. There's no bands. There's no bench shirts. It's literally you and the bar, 600 pounds. That's nuts. Absolutely nuts. And at least he's transparent about that, and can be open about the fact that he was using that stuff. And it still doesn't take away from the feat of being able to do what he's done. And he did not, to my knowledge, if I remember correctly, he tore his pec right before he got to his goal. But still, following that adventure was a lot of fun to watch. Gio, as far as like reps and sets and everything like that, it all just depends on muscle sizes. As far as like not necessarily like how big are your muscles, what muscle group are you working. Some of your bigger groups aren't going to need a lot of reps. They're already strong, so you can kind of hit those with a little bit more weight. And then, like I said, back again to focusing on the form factor. What I mean by more weight is, like your quads. Like your quads are the strongest muscle in your body. It's okay to hit those with a little bit of weight. Like I see some guys at the gym leg pressing not even their body weight. Like, man, I don't think people realize how much your quads can move. The bigger muscle groups can withstand more weight and less reps, but the smaller stuff, your weight, like your shoulders or kind of your biceps or some of your smaller muscles, especially your shoulders. Your shoulders are huge, man. You got to take care of your shoulders. That's something I wish I would have learned from a young age as well, is take care of your shoulders. It's not like a knee. You can't go out and get a knee replacement. You can go get a knee replacement if you blow out your knee. But if you trash your shoulder too bad, they can't really do nothing for you. There's no shoulder replacement. And if there is, it's not going to make you feel, I know people that have had knee replacements and can go on about everyday life. even if shoulder replacements are a thing, it's not something that's you're going to want any part of, because there's a lot more that goes into a shoulder that goes into a knee. So for your smaller muscle sets, like your shoulders and your biceps and triceps and things like that, moderate weight with more reps is going to be good. But for something like your pecs, or like if you're working your back muscles, like your bigger back muscles or your quads and things like that, then, use a little bit more weight and kind of lower the reps. And maybe like, sometimes I like to do depends on what I'm doing. I like to do between 5 to 8 reps for like my leg and back, like lower back stuff. Yeah, rotator cuff surgery, it always tears again. Yep. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, take care of your shoulders. Yeah, bigger, stronger, faster will open your eyes to a lot of stuff. As far talking about the Mark Bell thing, for those that don't know, the bigger, stronger, faster will open your eyes to a lot of what goes on behind the scenes. But again, it still doesn't take away. I kind of talked about that the other day, talking about who made the Hall of Fame. I talked about that on Facebook a little bit. Nobody made the Hall of Fame this year for the year of 2021. You had guys like Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens. Schilling was more of a politics thing. That's probably why he didn't make it, because of his politics and his views. But you got guys like Roger Clemens. You got guys like Barry Bonds. Like, Barry Bonds acknowledged using something. He said he didn't know what at the time, but I think the year was 98 or 99. And up to that time, sorry, I was reading the chat. And up to that time, I think it was 98 or 99, was the first year he acknowledged using something he wasn't sure about. He was a 7-time All-Star before that. Yeah, Gio, you're right. Bonds and Clemens don't get in. But in the aspect of Barry Bonds, like, he was a 7-time All-Star before he got big. People say he lost his speed. I mean, he got big. That's why he lost his speed. But he was a 7-time All-Star before that. So to say that it made him who he was is a little bit of a naive statement, in my opinion. And I actually don't think I replied to that person on Facebook. Honestly, I just didn't feel like arguing about it. But it did not make him who he was. He was already an elite, and I'm talking elite athlete. He was already almost at the top of the game. You're an all-star. What was it? I think it was 7 or 8 times, and I think 6 or 7 of them were in a row, whichever, the number was. But a lot of those were in a row. There was years he was a 40-40 threat. Stop and think. Like, is there any 40-40 guys in the game right now? Stop and think about that. Like, you can hit 40 home runs and still go out and steal 40 bases, play the outfield at an elite level. The drugs helped him hit more home runs, arguably, yeah, because he got bigger and he got stronger. And, you could say faster even though he was bigger, because you're going to be more explosive with bigger muscles as well, to a certain extent. And I hate Barry Bonds. I do want to say that. I don't know. Something about Barry Bonds just always kind of ground my gears a little bit. But to say that drugs was the reason he made the Hall of Fame is a little bit of a naive statement. And that's not to say you put an asterisk next to his name and say, oh, it was only for this year's is why he made the Hall of Fame. I mean, he was competing against the guys that were on drugs too. Think about how many people never got caught. He was competing against guys that were on drugs, performing the way he was. That's also something to think about too. I mean, like Roger Clemens, like, he was in the era of Roger Clemens. Like, Roger Clemens would get so locked in at times, he would tell the catcher, like verbally tell the catcher what he was going to throw, and he would throw it, and they still couldn't hit it. Like, you're telling me that a needle in this dude's hip was the reason that he was good? It made him who he was? He was nobody before that? That's wrong. It's 100% wrong. And, being a Cardinal fan, and, everybody wants to point at Mark McGwire and everything else. The only argument I'll give McGwire is his rookie year, he hit a lot of home runs. He didn't come in and, spend a couple years hitting a low amount of home runs. I mean, he came in hacking. Now, I'm not 100% buying. I don't care what Jose Canseco said. I don't care what he wrote his book about. Jose Canseco's a clown. 100% clown. So I don't care what he said or what he's done or anything else. I mean, he's struggling to be relevant. He is a former professional athlete who some people saw as a great player, struggling to be relevant in slow pitch. So that should just give you the idea of, just Canseco's a clown. So I don't care what he said about McGuire. Now, I will say that McGuire saying, his original argument was, I was using this for my knee so my knee could recover so I could go out and play sooner. So you're using the drugs to help your healing time for your knee, and you just happen to put on 40 pounds of muscle. Freak coincidence, right? And yeah, they do cover that in Bigger, Faster, Stronger. Yeah, you are right. But so anyway, about gloves. Let's talk about gloves. Sorry, dude. Hopefully you're still here so we can talk about them. Let me pull up. Let me see if I can't get the Headbanger website pulled up so we can just kind of talk about them a little bit and kind of go over. Actually, you know what? I may catch some hell for this, but we're going to look at something else. And it's only because I am just extremely familiar with the product. As far as break down what gloves are what, and types of leather, and there's also different types too. But at least speaking with this, I can at least know what I'm talking about to kind of help shed some light on glove choices and things like that. So let's okay. Move this over here. You was on standby, wasn't you? Waiting for gloves. They said a glove to come running. So let's hit OK. Boom. Oh my God. I didn't realize that never got fixed. Hang on, guys. I think I did this last week too. How did I not fix that? So I may catch some hell for it, and I'll apologize, and I am sorry. I just don't know a ton about, and maybe this, I could teach myself, be a better person. Maybe I'm just going to teach myself about gloves today. But Headbanger does not carry Vinci gloves, but I am very familiar with Vinci gloves, so it's going to be the easiest way for me to kind of explain and go over a little bit of what gloves are what and everything else. So you got the big things you're going to have is, let's do this. Ain't going to work, is it? So anyway, the biggest things you're going to have is different types of leather and different cuts and patterns and things like that. Like, give me an idea of kind of what you're wanting to see as far as what do you want explained, and I can definitely try and do my best. I'm not by no means am I a glove guru, but I know enough about gloves to make some sound decisions. I'll say that. Let's get this pulled back up. It's like the biggest thing to me is choices of leather. And like for Vinci, you're going to have your steer, which is I think most companies consider their steer hide, which is Vinci's 22 series gloves. Vinci gloves, really just like anything, Gio, you reach out to a rep, you can save yourself a decent amount of money on a glove. But for Vinci, you're going to have like their 22 series gloves, which is the steer hide, which is going to be something that breaks in really fast. If you play a lot of games or you play, a tournament every weekend and 2 or 3 nights of league ball a week, something like a steer hide glove or a Vinci 22 series probably isn't going to be the best fit for you, just because it's kind of meant for somebody that needs a fast break in that doesn't use their glove a ton. Maybe you play 1 or 2 league nights a year, you don't play any tournaments, or maybe you play 1 league night a year. The 22 series steer hide stuff is going to be right up your alley. And that rings to any brand, like I said. The steer hide stuff is going to be something that is going to be good. It's going to last you like I said, depends on how much you play. A steer hide glove, and I know because I've had one, lasted me barely 2 years, and that was probably when I played the most. And by the end of that, it probably was cashed in after a year and a half. But when I'm telling you, I got a lot of use to that thing. I was playing 2 nights of league ball, just about 4 games a night, and it was damn near every weekend we were somewhere playing softball. And I was pitching on top of that, doing almost nothing but pitching. So between having balls getting hit back at you and basically just constantly playing catch with it, the glove wore out in practically no time. Let's see, Jordan says, I'm an outfielder trying to get a shortstop or infield glove that is easy on transfer. I don't know anything about gloves besides length difference, mainly to practice the infield. Yeah, for the infield, I suggest nothing smaller than a 12.5 and 13-inch tops. So the one thing that I do like about Vinci's, and there's other brands that do this too. Like I said, I'm not trying to be partial to one brand. It's just I'm so familiar with them, I can kind of guide you here. So the glove I have right now, tell you what, let's just do this. Because I don't even like using this, because there's some gloves that I don't think should be in these lists. So I always just try and shoot for what I would look for in a glove and kind of go from there. Oh, don't tell me that. Okay, there we go. So let's see here. Kind of looking through some of the choices here, like a 14-inch glove. There's in there. Don't get me wrong. It's a preference thing. Just like Wicked said, it's a preference thing, and everybody's comfortable with something different. But if you're looking for something with a quick transfer, you're not going to want a 14-inch glove. Like I said, I'm shooting for something 12.5. Oh, another hug attack! My goodness. Mwah. I love you too. So I'm going to be looking for something in the 12.5 to 13-inch range with probably an H or an I-web. An I-web will play very shallow, like something like this. This is obviously smaller, but hi.
Mommy had waffles for breakfast.
She had waffles for breakfast. Well, that's pretty crazy. Can I click on that and make that bigger? Yeah, I can. So this is what's considered like an I-web. And if you're looking for something that's going to play shallow with a quick transfer, an I-web is really hard to beat. So it's just going to be like a kind of a single post deal, and a single post, something they call a single post, would be good as well. But I have, let's see if I can find it. 12.5. We're getting there. Okay, so here we go. Here's what I have. This is the glove that oh, that ain't big. Can I get a bigger one? Thank you. So this is the glove that I'm currently using. It's a 12 3/4 inch. And to me, it's the happy medium of, I still need something to pitch with that's big. This picture makes this glove look awful, by the way. The glove is I really like the quality of the Vinci gloves, but this glove looks cheap as crap in this picture. I'm not going to lie to you. They can picture that. But I did need something like, if I kind of came up playing third base, and really I didn't pitch for probably the first 3 or 4 years that I played slow pitch. I think I hurt my back doing something, and it was one of those deals where I just wanted to kind of stand there and just kind of toss the ball. We were playing league. I mean, we were not playing anything serious. I didn't really get into serious softball until probably 4 or 5 years ago, but I came up playing third base, and something short like a 12.5. I think I played it with my baseball glove for years, and then got my first Vinci, and it was cut on this pattern but with steer hide, and that's the one that wore out on me. But if you're playing infield, and traditionally speaking, you want something that's going to be a quick transfer, you're going to want a shorter glove. This is 12 3/4, so if I do end up going and playing anywhere on the infield, which probably won't happen, or I still need something that's going to defend me on the mound too. I don't want a really short glove on the mound, because it's going to limit what I'm able to grab. So I went with the 12 3/4 inch with an H-web, so it doesn't play too shallow, because the problem you get with sometimes getting balls laced back at you on the mound, because I've pitched with an I-web before, is stuff can kind of pop out just because it is so shallow. Unless you've got a good squeeze on it, there's a decent possibility that it could come out. So that's actually what I use, and that's probably what I would recommend for anybody just kind of like looking for like a utility style infield glove, and that's something that could still be used in the outfield too. So you've got their limited leather, which is a kip leather, and it's going to be kind of the middle of the road leather. This glove should last me. I also have a kip leather glove. Let's see. TJ 1952-L. See if it'll load for me. Okay, here we go. So this is the first custom glove that I ever bought. Really? No big pictures? Come on. Huh. So it's a 13.5 inch with the kip leather, and this thing lasted me a long, long time. Lots of games. I actually sold it. I got hit in the mouth with the ball. That's a whole different story for a different podcast. I got hit in the mouth with the ball, and it was going to cost me quite a bit of money, so I just sold off a lot of things that I could to kind of free up some money. And this custom glove was still in really good shape at the time, and I knew somebody that wanted it. So I actually sold it to the dude, and a couple years later was like, man, I'd like to have that back. So I actually ended up buying it back from the dude. I'd have to look and see when I got that glove. I want to say it was 2012, maybe 2013, and I just now retired it last year. I did get it relaced, buy a little bit more time out of it, but playing so long at pitcher and all the BP and everything else that we take, the glove just, it was ready to retire. That's actually, wow. $159 is a great price on this glove. This glove will last someone a long, long time. But just to give you an idea, like I ended up going with a shorter glove for my current glove, which is where I was going with all this. I went with a shorter glove just because in the event that I go back to third base or anything like that, like I could not play the infield with this thing. I could not field grounders with it. The glove was so long that it just felt awkward, and the transfers were never clean. It never felt good. You know, there'd be times where I played a lot of second base one year in league, and I mean, it was serviceable, but man, it would have been so good to have something a little bit shorter just for transfer times and everything else. And like I said, it's just kind of weird fielding a hot ground ball with a long glove. If it goes off the end, it's gone. Just because the glove can give way. If you got a shorter glove, it's more likely to go in, and it's not going to, even if it does hit the end of the glove, it's still going to bobble to where you can knock it down and pick it up. But the experience that I had with a longer glove on the infield was not good, and that's why I would suggest something in the 12.5 to 13 inch range. Kind of catching up with comments here, making sure I'm getting what Jordan needs. And Jordan, if you want to reach out to me like on Facebook or something like that on the BP Hero page and want to pick out a glove, I can definitely help you, get you pointed in the right direction and get you fixed up with something. And do my best to point you in the direction of a good glove for something that you're looking for. I'm always willing to do that. Yeah. She's busy behind me right now, Gio. My daughter's back there running around, coming in, giving me hug attacks. She can tell I'm doing something on the computer that's captivating attention. So I think it's another reason she comes running back in here. But that's a kid thing, and I'm completely fine with it. Always here for hug attacks. Wicked says, when I'm breaking in a glove, wife has to hear, yeah. The breaking in of a glove, especially like a really stiff, rigid glove, is never a fun process. Sometimes you just get tired of it and almost give up on it, but that's about the time that it starts getting good. So Jordan says, I normally play 2 to 3 league nights all year besides the winter and 3-ish tournaments a month. Yeah, so you're definitely going to want a kip leather glove. I don't know what other brands. I know some other brands use kip, but I don't know what the brands that don't carry kip, what their comparison of that leather would be. Like I said, I can if you want to reach out to me, I can do some research and we can get you fixed up with a glove. And they got some pretty decent sales going on gloves right now at a few different places, so we can definitely get you taken care of, because you're going to need something not steer hide. I can tell you that for sure. If I was suggesting a Vinci, it would be something that was kip, or maybe even you want to get weird. So this Optimus series stuff, this stuff will last someone a lifetime. If you can wear out an Optimus glove, then you're doing something. But these things are not cheap, and there's a reason for it. And I will say, if I was going to get an Optimus glove, they're stiff. They're stiff and they're rigid, so I would probably go with a mesh back. Otherwise, I would not recommend a mesh back on any glove, personally. There we go. So this has actually got a mesh back in it just to kind of like reduce weight a little bit, so it's not so heavy. And to me, other gloves aren't heavy enough to justify needing a mesh back, but this glove, this leather is heavy duty. It's heavy. It's going to last you. I promise you, it's going to last you. But you can sacrifice with the mesh on this style of glove because you're not going to lose any of your structural stuff because of the rest of the glove is still very strong. But their Optimus is like their Lamborghini style stuff, and it's super freaking nice. If I had all the money to spend, I would have one of these. I'll say that. But I just can't. I can't bring myself to spend that much money on a glove. Even reaching out to a rep and getting a better price on it, it's still a pretty tough pill to swallow for me, considering the good experiences that I've had with the kip leather from them. Oh, Jordan, you're fine, man. I mean, you're not costing me any time on the broadcast here. I'm just hanging out with you guys, man. We're just vibing right now. So this is kind of where I wanted the direction of the podcast to go, and we've held 20 viewers for an hour and 15 minutes now, so I'd say we're doing something right. Obviously, it's not going to be the same 20 viewers, but you know, it's one of those things. People are interested, so this is what we're going to kind of roll with for now, because I could do this all day long. I could literally sit here for 8 hours and just hang out. Let's talk about cups. Let's not. Gio, we ain't talking about no bat list right now. I was actually going to try and put the finishing touches on that and just like start the podcast with it just to see, you know, who's here early to be able to reap that reward. But I had a couple things that I still needed to touch up on it before I would let anybody see it. So let's see. Gio says, if I'm playing one night of League and 5 to 6 tournaments a year, what Vincey would you recommend? Assuming you're going to be mainly pitching, Gio, I can tell you what I would choose. Slide down through here. Looking for a specific model here. Dude, look at that unit. That's not what I'm suggesting, but look at that thing. It's huge. That's what she said. 15-inch glove. And, like, the picture doesn't do justice to how big this thing is. You can fit 2 softballs in it. Almost 2.5. You can fit 2.5 in it. If you put a ball right here, put another one on top, and the Vinceys are cut and placed so deep, you can do a ball here, and then you can have a half of another ball hanging out of the top of it. It's wild that anybody could think they need a glove that big. It's crazy. But moving on. So not a fan of this color combo, Gio, but this is probably what I would recommend for, you know, someone playing just a handful of games a year. It's that steer hide leather that I was talking about. It's not going to take forever to get broken in. It's going to break in. It's going to be nice, and it's going to last you as long as you're not playing a ton. It'll last you a while, and it'll do good. So I would recommend like a steer hide, something like this. As far as other brands go, the Headbanger would carry. Man, they're probably going to be mad at me if they see this, but I'd have to look and see what would compare to this, and we can make a choice from there if you wanted me to help you get you something. But this is what I would suggest is this here. Just don't know about the black and tan combo there. Not going to lie to you. But, all right, guys. Well, I think I'm going to kind of wrap it up here. It's we're an hour and 20 minutes into this thing, and I've got some stuff I need to get done today. Put some finishing touches on that video and do a few other things. So I'm probably going to shut it down here. Thank you guys for stopping in and hanging out and listening to me podcasting from the heart. That's what we're going to name this one. I like that. So let's go here. Save it. All right. So that's what we're going to name this podcast, Podcasting from the Heart. Sometimes you gotta kind of roll with it before you figure out what the name of the podcast is. So thanks for stopping in, guys. I had a blast. I love doing this stuff. I'm glad that I gave the podcast another chance, because just kind of sitting here and hanging out with you guys is half the fun sometimes. We got some softball stuff in. We got some live stuff in. We got some football stuff in. We got some baseball stuff in. So, you know, how do you go wrong? To me, that's the perfect podcast. So I enjoyed it. I hope you guys did too. Swing hard in case you hit it. Thursday, 9 a.m. next week. I'm going to see you guys in. Putting out the feeler right now so you guys can go mark it in your calendars. The link will be up. See you guys then.